The balanced price range BPR indicator is available for various platforms on the TradingFinder website. From this section, you can access this indicator on the TradingView website. Traders refer here to understand the indicator, search and apply it on TradingView, add to favorites for quick access. To access this indicator on the TradingView website, we search for the indicator's name in the Indicators section and apply it to the chart by selecting it. For quicker and easier access to this indicator, you can add it to your favorites by enabling the Add to Favorite option. Once the indicator is applied to the chart, it will start searching for and drawing the BPR boundaries on the price chart. For faster and easier access to this indicator, add it to your indicators by activating the Add to Favorites option. The indicator draws BPR boundaries. It found a bearish BPR from overlapping bullish and bearish FVGs, a bullish FVG. It found a bearish BPR boundary by overlapping a bullish FVG and a bearish FVG, bullish FVG, then price drops sharply forming a bearish FVG, overlap, creates bearish BPR boundary, resistance. ICT traders identify bullish and bearish FVGs with this indicator to find overlaps and set BPR boundaries. They can execute trades. BPR boundaries are drawn as potential levels, and when price interacts, strong reactions occur. A bearish boundary is formed, considered a resistance level. ICT traders easily identify bullish and bearish FVGs with this indicator, recognizing overlaps to determine BPR boundaries. They can then trade. BPR boundaries are drawn as significant levels, and when price returns to these boundaries, strong reactions occur. Settings section inputs offer options. First, enable disable all FVGs and IFVGs display. By default, it's enabled. Disabling shows only recent FVG and IFVG. Identify BPR limits to trade. BPR limits are drawn with potential, and when price hits BPR limits, strong reactions occur. In the settings, under Inputs, options are available. In the first part, you can toggle all FVGs and IFVGs. This is enabled by default, and disabling, it identifies and draws the most recent FVG and IFVG. Set the number of candles for FVG and IFVG ranges. Default is 500 candles. Adjust the theme mode, set to off, light, or dark. Default is light. Toggle bullish BPRs. In the next section, you can set the number of candles for the validity of the FVG and IFVG ranges, which is set to 500 candles by default. In the following section, you can adjust the theme mode, which can be set to off, light, or dark with the default set to light. In the next section, you can enable or disable the display of bullish BPRs, and you can change its color to your preferred choice. In the next section, you can enable or disable the display of bullish BPRs. You can also change its color to your preferred choice. In the following section, you can enable or disable the display of bearish BPRs. Set color, toggle BPRs, pick level, prox 50% dist. In the next section, you can optionally activate, disable the display of descending BPRs. You can change its color and select BPR level, proximal, 50%, distal, default is proximal. Proximal uses closest level as upper range. Price at highest BPR level is invalid. 50% OB uses 50% BPR range. Interaction is valid, selecting distal. By selecting the proximal option, it considers the closest level to the price, which becomes the upper level of this range. When the price returns and interacts with the highest level of our BPR range, it identifies it as invalid and disregards the continuation of this range. Selecting the second option considers 50% OB, price, validates it. Distal option considers furthest level, lowest BPR boundary, validates it. Price consuming BPR is invalid. Default, proximal level, adjust display settings for IFVGs and FVGs, choose visibility and colors. It considers the furthest level from the price, and when the price interacts with the lowest level of the BPR boundary, it identifies it as valid. Alternatively, if the price completely consumes the BPR boundary, it considers it invalid. This is set to default. In the next section, you can adjust the display settings for bearish IFVGs and bullish FVGs, deciding whether they should be shown on the chart or not. and you can choose their colors. Toggle bullish IFVGs with bearish order blocks. There is a bullish IFVG with a bearish order block. Adjust mitigation level IFVG and FVG, proximal, nearest price level, and 50% OB, the 50% level of the range. Here we have identified a bullish IFVG and a bearish order block. You can change its color to your preference. Next, adjust the mitigation level, IFVG and FVG with 3 modes: proximal, closest to the price, 50% OB, the midpoint of the range, and distal, farthest from the price. Then, there's the FWG filter with 4 modes: very aggressive, aggressive, defensive, and very defensive, starting with very aggressive. The goodness level is 50% of the range. Select distal. The FWG filter has modes: very aggressive, aggressive, defensive, and very defensive. For bullish FVGs, very aggressive needs the last candle's max price to exceed the middle candles. For bearish FVGs, the last candle's min price must be less than the middle candles. Aggressive means the middle candle shouldn't be small, increasing FVGs. Defensive needs a large middle candle, mostly body. For bullish order blocks, the second and third candles must be bullish. For bearish, they must be bearish. Identify bullish FVGs. Maximum price last candle be greater than maximum price middle candle. Bearish FVGs. Minimum price last candle be less than minimum price middle candle. Selecting aggressive option. Besides very aggressive conditions, size middle candle not small. Other number FVGs identified. Selecting defensive option. Besides very aggressive conditions, size middle candle large, mostly body. Bullish order blocks. Second and third candles be bullish. Bearish order blocks. Second and third candles be bearish. Many order blocks identified, retaining only most qualified ones. When selecting the defensive option, besides aggressive conditions, the size of the middle candle should be large and mostly body. To identify bullish order blocks, the second and third candles must be bullish, and to identify bearish order blocks, the second and third candles must be bearish. This filters many order blocks, leaving only more qualified ones than the previous 2 conditions. Selecting the defensive option, the first and third candles should not be small, like doji candles. This also filters many order blocks, leaving only the highest quality ones compared to the previous 3 conditions. In this case, a large number of FVGs are destroyed, and only FVGs with higher quality than the previous 2 cases remain. By selecting the very defensive option, in addition to the defensive conditions, the first and third candles should not be small candles with very tiny bodies, like doji candles. In this case, many order blocks will also be filtered out, leaving only the highest quality order blocks compared to the previous 3 conditions. In the next section, you can name the alert and toggle its status. You can select the alert status, all, once per bar, or per bar, closed. All sends alerts under all conditions. Once per bar, sends alerts when the price enters the mitigation zone, even if the candle is open. Per bar closed, sends alerts only when the candle closes. There's a time zone setting for traders to choose their desired time based on UTC. We've reached the end of this tutorial, and we welcome your comments and suggestions. By selecting option 1, the price will be sent to the mitigation range every time the signal is received, and the signal will be sent while the current candle is still active and has not yet closed. By selecting option 3, the price will be sent to the mitigation range only when the candle closes and closes. In the next section, there's a time zone setting where traders can choose their desired time based on UTC. Well friends, we've reached the end of this indicator tutorial, and we would be happy if you could share your comments and suggestions with us in the comments section.